So something that people ask a lot is whether or not college and high school are comparable, and if, AP classes are really like college classes at all. So I wanted to discuss my viewpoints on this topic, whether I feel that college and high school classes are similar in any regards, and if not, what are the differences? So in high school, at least the high school I went to, all my classes were 80-minute class periods. They were always this length, they never differed. And I know for a lot of other people, class lengths were also the same. And not only are they the same length, they happen within a certain amount of time. It's always between like 8 and 3, 9 and 4. It has a set amount of time that you're going to be in school. In college, that all changes. You might have classes that are 50 minutes, 90 minutes, even 3 hours, depending if you take labs or studios. And so all of a sudden, you're going to be subjected to class periods where you might be sitting somewhere for a really long period of time, or you might be getting information so quickly that you don't even realize the class is over by the time it is. And this also comes in regards with when your classes are. Instead of your classes always being between like 8 and 3, you might have a class at 7:30 in the morning, but you might not have another class until 6 p.m. at night. And so your time of day when your classes are can be drastic. I remember my very first quarter in college, I had a 7 p.m. discussion on a Tuesday night, and I was not used to that. It was weird having to get out of my dorm at 7 p.m. when it was dark and go to a class. It was strange, and it wasn't something I'd ever experienced before in high school. The other thing that happens is your classes don't have to really be like one after another. They're going to be spaced out sometimes. I know I've had gaps between 2 and 6 hours between classes. Sometimes I only have one class a day. The whole scheduling and how you're in school is really different from high school to college. Another one of the differences between college and high school classes is that the size can also just vary drastically. I remember in my high school, most of my class sizes were pretty much the same. It was like 20 to 30 kids in a class. Sometimes we had a smaller class with like 10 to 15, but most times the average was like 22 or something. The size varies drastically in college. You could have a lecture with 300 students, or you could have a really small exclusive lecture of an upper division class with like 12. Discussions can range from, 10 to 15 to sometimes you might have a larger one with 20 to 25. But it's not that bad, honestly. I think that the big lectures can be intimidating at first, but in the end, it's a matter of how well you're going to pay attention and take in information. And if you need help, go ahead and make sure you seek that one-on-one attention you can get from office hours or from talking to a TA. Another one of the major differences I found in college versus high school is that homework is really not that important anymore. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do your homework, but before in high school, homework could save your grade. If you did all your homework, you got A's on every assignment. That could really help your grade if you were struggling on tests or quizzes. If anything, it's worth 5 to 10% of your grade, and it's not usually going to save your grade. You're not going to get as much of the busy work. You're not going to have random assignments that you are like, man, this doesn't help me at all. But you're also not going to get that nice cushion of, oh, but if I do these assignments, my grade is going to be better off if I don't do as well on the midterms and quizzes. So definitely focus more on studying than trying to just get through some easy, busy homework, because in the end, your midterm is going to be worth 20 to 40% of your grade, and easily more important than any homework you're given. Another difference that college has from high school classes is that your interactions with your teachers are going to vary drastically, and I think that kind of is on par with what I've said so far. College, everything varies very drastically. In college, you're going to interact with your professors maybe 0 times to maybe a lot. And this is all going to depend on, one, how active of a participant in class you are, and how well you know your teachers, and how big your lecture size is. In a class of 300, there might be 2 or 3 people that know the professor really well because they attend office hours all the time, but most likely the professor is not going to know your name, which is okay. You don't have to worry about that because a lot of your interactions are going to come from being with your TAs. And the reason for this is because your TAs are here to help you on a more one-on-one personal level, which is great for you. TAs can save your grade if you needed it, because especially if you're in a humanities class or a class that has papers, most likely your TA is the one grading your paper. And so asking them for help is going to be more beneficial than actually talking to a professor about your paper sometimes. I think that the one similarity I'd like to really instill about college and high school classes is that no matter what, you're going to find classes that you might struggle in, and you should really actively seek out help for them. You know, it's not worth failing in class in college because unlike high school, your GPA is going to take a really long time to recover. You know, if you fail a class or two in a quarter, your GPA is going to get stuck down in a 2-point to 3-point range, and trying to bring it up from there is like finding a needle in a haystack of needles. It's near impossible to do, and especially if you start to struggle a lot, most likely bringing that GPA up is not going to be very practical. So like in high school, you know, go seek out help from your professors. They have office hours. They're more than happy to actually talk through problems and issues you have in a class. Also, there's lots of tutors on campus, so seek those out and you know, seek out classmates for help. At UC Davis, you'll find that people are actually very encouraging and they're there to be helpful. So I would say, you know, don't be shy about asking for help. You know, everyone struggles in a class, and that's okay. So I think this kind of covers what I would say are the big differences between high school and college. I'm sure I missed a few, which is fine, but if you have some, please leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And if you like this video, you want more videos like this, of course, please subscribe, hit that like button, share, you know, all those things that typical YouTubers say. And as always, don't forget to be awesome.